The following is a special presentation of the PDF Sports Network.
Okay, so good morning officially. Hope everybody is doing well. And appreciate it. So yes, I was great seeing all you guys yesterday. The rain was crazy, yes indeed. Absolute awesome time. I was at the West Haven site for the Big East kickoff, working with HSG, doing on-field commentary. They had two guys up in the booth, and I was on the field. It was absolutely awesome time. Got player interviews. I didn't really push the player interviews too much, so if you made a play, you probably made a play. If I didn't interview you or come to you or what have you, it's because coaches, staff, and administrators not really used to it, so I kind of wanted to warm them up to the idea that we could do things in game without it really, coming off the rails, so to speak, yesterday. So I saw the broadcast over at what's up, Anthony? I saw the broadcast over at Maritime yesterday. Two games there that were absolutely great games. Everybody, not everybody scored, but the games were. It was good football. It was week one football, so it's all relative. So snaps were going over heads. There was a little bit. There was a lot of rain and wind that affected offenses. So all in all, I think this is, and you'll see me say this over and over again. It's about this year. It's about the players and the coaches and everybody from this year. Not talking about years past. It's a waste of time. It was a great week one of football. Everybody was in uniform for Big East in week one. In the NFL, I saw them; they were in uniform. ECFL, it looked pretty. I mean, the Falcons made their debut and won a big game, so that you expect from the Falcons. So the first thing that I want to get to is let's get to a few highlights. So let me give first credit to Brandon Faust at B&B Media, who covers NAFL games. The game yesterday was the Raptors game that he covered. A couple things that happened in that game. Number 22, Alexander Gooden, who's a rookie, 3 rushes for 47 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's a former Bloomsburg running back, 2-time All-PSAC, which is the conference that they compete in. Number 10, Junior Default, who played at Westchester. He caught a 2-point conversion, which you're about to see. Number 27, Karan Williams, caught a pick. Number 88, Daxton Washington, he's a rookie. 3 sacks on the Owls. That's a pretty big game. And the Owls, I keep on saying, the Owls usually start slow, but don't count them out. But Mr. Washington closed out the game with one of his sacks. And again, B&B Media, great job. What really made me notice B&B Media is the on-field camera, which is very similar to field level camera, I should say, which is very similar to what TYJ does. Well, the same thing that TYJ does. And just absolute awesome work right here. That's the touchdown catch right there. I'm going to post these so you can see them in obviously far better quality than looking at me videotaping my screen. I definitely haven't had that capability yet. This is what he really is, like an expert at, the running back getting to the end zone, seeing him see the hole open up and getting a little bit of celebration afterwards. Great job on that one. That's a great pick right there. Hold the ball with 2 hands, young man. Great footage right here. Again, when you show stuff like this, look, everybody's in uniform. Everything's looking professional. You got contrasting colors. Great job, NAFL. Great job, guys. Again, this is not looking like 37U, but we appreciate that. Boom, boom, boom. You feel like the NFL films should be in the background. There you go. Oh, the shoulder pad popping out. That's good stuff right there. I love the camera work. Indeed. Boom, boom, boom. And now we're back to the top. Cool. So B&B Media, big shout out to those guys. So yeah, media was heavy yesterday. heavy, heavy, heavy. Let me just go to the scores real quick before anything, and then we'll move from there. In the Big East, you had four games. The Brooklyn Bengals, who I said kept on saying that those boys are overlooked. They feel disrespected. They came out and made a statement against the Black Panthers. Defense ruled the day on this one. The Battle of the Lions, the Kingston Lions looking pretty impressive. So when you look at the scores, you're going to say, oh, the Golden Lions came up with so much fanfare. They were my number one pick in the preseason. And then you look at the scores like Patterson, how you have number one, and they only beat this team that was supposed to be ranked lower in the rankings only by 6 points. Well, that doesn't tell the story. The Kingston Lions, this is more about the Kingston Lions being better than expected rather than the Golden Lions being not as good as we thought. That's what you saw if you looked at the broadcast. If you were at the game, I mean, if you're at the game, you probably didn't see half of it because there was gale force winds and such, but it is what it is. So the next game was Wolfpack. Wolfpack came out and put up points. Would have lost this bet, the Wolfpack having the most points in week one, but those guys, toss right, toss left, 30 points, took care of the Canes, 30-6. Got some highlights from that one. And Green Wave, which was my number two, a lot of people's number one. So when it comes to the top of the polls, they're right up there with the Golden Lions. And they came out in the first two plays and made a statement. They ended up taking this one 19-0. Keep in mind, Green Wave's defense, even in years past, before whatever acquisitions you want to talk about, Green Wave have always played really solid defense and have tried to win games by these type of scores. We thought with some of the firepower that they have that they would put up more points. Well, when you're playing at Maritime, and when you have wind that is gusting like it is, you're not going to end up with that. So could this have been worse? Possibly. So I don't think this is an indictment on the Green Wave at all. I think the 19-0 score is more of an indication of the weather. But again, we shall see. But it definitely gets you thinking. As I was looking at the Green Wave game on the electronic device, and then I was at the Golden Lions game. Man, I'm definitely going to be up in Connecticut for that late season matchup between the Green Wave and the Golden Lions. That should be a goodie. Hopefully, we get better weather for that one, so we can see both of those offenses work. NEAFL games, the Militia made a statement against the Unit, so the Unit now are even at 1-1. The Raptors, who people thought may be a fluke or lucked out in week one, came back and took care of another top team, beating the Owls 15-12. The Bullies, Bullies got bullied in week two, 14-0. They seem to be struggling at this point, and now we have the Wolfpack and the Tide both undefeated. Tide took care of the Knights 35-0. And then in another one that was kind of not shocking, but I was expecting more out of the Eagles. Panthers took care of the Eagles 14-0. In the ECFL, again, the Falcons made their debut, come back after a year off hiatus, in a defensive struggle to say the least. They got a safety that ended up the final score, the only score of the game, 2-0 over the Cardinals. So now the Cardinals are 0-2. The Ducks, I have not seen the footage from this one. The Ducks look like a very dangerous team, though. Hopefully they were in uniform and got that thing together so they can look the same way that they play. But this is now 2 weeks in a row, so I mean, you can only play the teams on your schedule and handle business that way. And what was a interesting matchup because they played indoors up north. The Warhawks beat the Chargers 41-6. We didn't really think that was going to be competitive. The Chargers just aren't there, and the Warhawks are now at the top of the league at 2-0. So that was pretty much it. So let's take a look at some of the highlights quick, and then we'll go to the commentary, and then the subject for the day, which was organizations versus teams and what's occurring with semi-pro football. So this is New England versus the Lions game, Lions versus Lions. Quarterback Larry Garcia with the bomb on this one. That was a nice touchdown. Boom, boom, boom. The first touchdown of this game was our boy Christian Ramsey, the Bleezy, with the initial score right there. That made it 6-0. So those two scores were the scores of the game for the Golden Lions. I'll show you the other replay in a second because I went backwards. Sorry. Okay, cool. So first we got Falcons versus Cardinals. And week one had a bunch of errant snaps, and that's what it really is about when it comes to week one, is those mistakes, especially penalties and turnovers. So here we go. Errant snap gets by, probably the punter on that one. Panic, panic, panic. Try to throw it away, but it's too late. And we're throwing our hands up for a safety. Boom. Eventually, we'll get it, and that's it. So that was the only score in that game. We got Warhawks action. This is a tip ball that was picked and brought back for 6. This made the game 20-0 at that point. But yeah, cool indoor facility, an indoor football game that is regulation 100 yards. That's pretty dope. I've done that before. That was an awesome experience. This is pretty interesting. So the referee's doing what the referees do, and there was some refereeing issues, just like there always is. But I guess they're ready to play, and apparently the Panthers are not. But this is interesting. Or either that or just draw up the defense as, let's line up on the sideline, fellas, and then when the ball is snapped, let's run to our spots and do the good old pursuit drill. Great pursuit on that. That is awesome that you were able to make that play. So that's pretty cool here. Another play from that one. Panthers quarterback getting to the pylon. Boom. And that's how you end up with that with the Eagles game. Wolfpack game over at Maritime. Look at this fake. Got him. Little pause. And then gets to the pylon. Good job by the Wolfpack. Later on, toss. Boy. Yeah, seal that edge. Woo. This is Green Waves. I believe this is their first possession. Juan Garcia bombs over Baghdad. Errol Westbrook doing what he does. He has some separation. Let's check that out again. We got that clean. Yeah, he has some separation. Good job by that young man. And then on the second possession, love the vision on this thing. Juan Rodriguez is doing what he do. Oh, look at that. That was Sadiq Nathaniel, who was a guest on the Bleezy show this week, finding the opening in the coverage and getting it done. Now, here we go. Brooklyn Bengals. There we go, getting to the outside. That is Casamigos. Villanueva getting in for the score. That was a big score, too. And by the way, young man, twisted his ankle or whatever it was, minor injury, comes out the game. I'm going to show you again because, again, y'all get on Casa when he do bad, so you got to give him his props when he does well. And that man did well. He was the feature back. He was calm and cool and not doing too much. So great job by that young man. Later on, boom. Good throw. So Black Panthers, that was me, by the way. Your little handshake. Welcome to the end zone. Good job. I'll post that one up. So Black Panthers. Again, Black Panthers, they have, don't write them off quite yet. They have some weapons, number 12 and number 14. And they got a quarterback that can play, by the way. They have a quarterback that has ability. The Bengals defense really clamped down. Again, that's Christian Ramsey getting to the end zone. Tribute to his grandmother that passed. So he gets in for the initial score. There you go. Later on, Garcia, little go route, boom, gets in the end zone. And that's how we end up with it. So some great highlights. Again, if you have some extra highlights and such, please send your highlights in. We'll send it over to the big show on Thursday. They had a great show this week. It was absolutely awesome. Pretty dope. And guests from the Green Wave, Sadiq Nathaniel and Tariq Noble and company. And it was a great time. So what's going on for next week? Let me get this out the way, and then we will get to the topic of the day. Boom, boom, boom. This is how I know it. Again, this is not official. This is what I got to my knowledge. So we have the Battle of Brooklyn with the Bengals at the Crusaders in Brooklyn, obviously. The Golden Lions take on the Hurricanes at the Hurricanes, so we'll see if the Hurricanes can rebound. The Green Wave against the Wolfpack, so a battle of 1-0. So this should be interesting. I think that's the game of the week for Week 1. Actually, no, the game of the week for Week 1 is the Dolphins that are at Columbia. I'm not sure if Columbia is coming to them or if they're going to the country of Colombia. If they're going to the country of Colombia, they're the big winners this week because it is cold and rainy and nasty here. In the AFL, we have Raptors at the Tide. So that should be a good one because the Tide's undefeated. Raptors undefeated too. Panthers at the Vikings. See if the Vikings can come back after bye week and try to score the upset on this one. The Owls try to bounce back from 0-2. They have the Wolfpack, boy. If the Wolfpack get on a roll and the Owls go to 0-3, there's going to be trouble there. Unit at the Eagles. So these are two teams that I think need to establish themselves this week. Bullies at the Knights. So there's a chance for the Bullies to get themselves together because the Knights are struggling. So the Bullies are in a state of emergency as much as you could be in a state of emergency in week 3 when it comes to needing a win. So in the ECFL, the Falcons go to week 2 at the Raiders. The Raiders got their lunch handed to them by the Ducks. The Ducks go to the Bruins now 2 weeks in a row of just handling teams. That's gonna be if the Ducks can pull 3 in a row, then we might have to move them way up in the rankings and say that they're beating teams by margins that make put you on notice. Let's put it that way. Bulldogs, who's the other team that is one of the other teams I should say that's formidable in the ECFL, goes to the Chargers. Chargers are struggling, so that's going to be a pretty big spread there. Yeah, so that's going to be a tough go at it for them. Where are we at now? Let's go to the comments. Boom, 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 boom. Have a great day, everybody. In Colombia, Cultural Exchange Program. All right, Earl. Good morning, Earl. How are we, sir? The Kingston Lions are home versus the Black Panthers is what I'm being told. Okay, so I will double check. Maybe the schedule that I got is off. I will definitely check it before putting up the spreads and things like that. They're passing all the videos. And I said Errol Westbrook. Oh my God, I'm sorry. That's Errol James. Sorry. Don't on that. Boom, 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 boom. Panthers said the Ducks were going to be solid this year. Yo, the Ducks are legit. All the spreads wrong are all of them. Oh, really? We're doing it this morning, Molly. We really gotcha. Okay, got it. Have a great day. Wait. Boom, 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 boom. Gotcha. I'm not sure if you know how spreads work to say that the spreads were incorrect, but gotcha. And again, it's week 1. Everybody was in week 1. The referees were in week 1. Players were in week 1. Yeah, indeed. And by the way, the weather definitely turned, although the Green Wave game probably would have been worse. So yeah, the 2.5 point spread. Hey, look at that. Even monkeys fall out of trees every now and again. We're not perfect. Go fig. So let's talk about what up. Hold on. Let's see. A couple of things I took away from yesterday. The Kingston Lions defense absolutely rallied after being down 12-0. Offense was able to muster up points and get the game to be a tight one. So that was a very good game. We get a chance to watch the replay on that. He's getting used to the term, so he can still be on point at the beginning of the season. I got it right. Indeed, he just again, I don't like him. He doesn't like me, so he's gonna find anything to complain about. 100%. Even if I hit it on the pause, even if I got it completely correct, he would have found some fault with it. It is what it is. Gotcha. Cool. Again, which brings me to my next to actually the purpose of today's talk, which is semi-pro is dying. Semi-pro is dead. Everybody who's saying the sky is falling. Now, the sky is not falling. I think we had some awesome games yesterday. Pause that. Thanks. We had some great games yesterday. We had games at great facilities yesterday. We had games that great facility uniforms. We had all the bells and whistles. We had the concession stand. The concession stand at the site in West Haven, Connecticut. Absolutely awesome. They had a Mexican food truck. Had burritos that were amazing, and then like a macaroni and cheese or a cheese expert. It was holy guacamole and something else, whatever it was. But I had lunch and I had dinner at the same site with the two food trucks. It was absolutely awesome. So semi-pro is not dying, it is not dead. Now let me just start with this then. So for the people or whatever that were saying that, oh my God, triple A's, double A, and this and that, how many players? Just give me a list of players before I even entertain it. If you think that semi-pro is dying or dead, give me the list of players that were elite players in semi-pro football. Fork in the road, yes. Big shout out, Fork in the road. Give me a list of the players that are no longer playing because semi-pro football is dead. Give me a list of all the talented headline players that no longer participate because the sport is dead. Give me that list. And that list should, going back to it, I think we had a list before. If we end up with 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So out of I had this number, let's say 20 some odd teams, almost 30 teams in the tri-state area, in the region, just for spring, mind you. And spring was never the headline. Spring became popular in the wave relatively recently. Out of the 25 plus teams around now, tell me who's sitting out. You can't name them. So it's not like all of a sudden all this talent departed. That's not what occurred. Tell me, like, coaches. And by the way, I saw coaches in some new places. Well, I mean, new places like not like they left their previous team, but for the spring, they're in one particular place. Like I saw some Bears coaches around in different teams. I saw players that I had seen on different teams that landed in different places, especially guys that played on teams that are no longer playing. Who's sitting out? So it's the same pool of talent. They're just in different locations. Now, here's the thing, and people that just grumble are going to grumble. That's what they're going to do. The bottom line is this. The players who drive this thing, in general, not the superstar players that I'm just talking about, players in general. The players drive this thing because without players, we don't have football, period. They are still playing. They are playing in uniforms that the people that are complaining just don't like. That's it. So if we had these conversations about the Crusaders being a great team, some people just can't, thank you for that. You just can't get your mind wrapped around superstars going to the Crusaders, and now the Crusaders are a great football team. Because the Bonchiche, the Chatter, the semi-pro Wendy Williamses of the world just want their names or their brands or their friends to be the top dogs. So if the Crusaders have a AAA roster, they're AAA. But some of you will just respond with, well, it's the Crusaders, they can't be AAA. The Wolfpack, some of you guys just don't like Sean Spencer. If Sean Spencer had the exact roster from the Marlboro Shamrocks, like the exact roster, took them literally from Massachusetts, put them on an Amtrak for every single game, you guys would say the Wolfpack sucks. I can't stand them. They're double A. That's what you would say. So the bottom line is the same players are playing. The same coaches are coaching. They are just coaching and playing in different places. and you are not comfortable, or you might be just struggling with relevancy because the teams that are relevant and the organizations that are relevant now are not the same banners that you've seen in the past. Get over it. But it's not football dying. It's the brands changing. That's it. So if you're not comfortable with, did I use it right? Indeed. So there's some organizations that their names just get you mad, or you don't understand their history, and then you just want to be like, oh, it's the Brooklyn Bengals. And that's why the Brooklyn Bengals, man, they got a chip on their shoulder. They play great defensive football. I love watching them play defensive football. Absolutely. And you just want to say that the Bengals are not good because you want the Bengals to not be good. But when you look at their roster and the teams that are playing, they're playing with players that are championship players that have championship experience. But you don't like their banner. You don't like who runs their organization. So goes to my next point. Name the bad organizations in the spring. Not bad football teams or historically bad football teams. You want to talk about how they, never won this game or that game or who they've beaten in the past. Tell me who has a bad organization. Name one. You can't. You're not going to dare say the Crusaders are bad, organizational-wise. The Hurricanes, who got beat pretty soundly, they're not a bad organization. Dolphins, great organization. Bengals have been around for longer than, when the Bengals started, some of the players in here were literally in Pampers. So what are we talking about? Who is a bad organization? So why are we, and again, I'll take phone calls on this one. Yeah. So why are we just not used to, and this is the favoritism from certain people, and by the way, the same people that say favoritism, the same people that literally that's what they do. I guess it's like a Trump thing where you just say what you're doing and hope that that people believe it. But if you are sitting here saying the Kings, okay, so if you're sitting here saying the Kings aren't around, the Kings aren't around. The bad organizations, in fact, the bad organizations are not getting off the ground. In previous years, bad organizations have made it to the football field. They've made it there. In most of the leagues, the bad organizations are not even making it to week one. They can't. They can't get there because players are going to great organizations. Period. Green Wave, great organization, because I know Molly's going to say something, right? Green Wave is a great organization. And now they got players coming in there from that have not played on the Green Wave before, that take them from great organization, good football team, to great organization, and apparently great football team, and a heavy favorite to win it all. Get over it. It was a bad organization. Yeah, Kingston Lions, great organization. So again, name a bad organization that's playing football right now. You can't. And that's why the sport right now is the best that it's been in a while. This season is the best it's been in a while. Now, if you're not participating in it, again, I'll say his name. For example, Slip got up there and, again, put up another post about how semipro is dying and there's no AAA. Says who? Look at the names that scored touchdowns yesterday. Those are AAA names on teams that you don't associate with being AAA teams. I don't agree with everything that Mike Lowry has said. However, Mike Lowry's a AAA player, and he has a valid point. Why say anything about the team that these players are joining are now AAA teams? That's what's dying exactly. Again, help me out with this one. And again, if you want to join me, you're more than welcome to. Some people are still sleeping and what have you, so you're more than welcome to come on. But I'm struggling with those. Hey, what's going on, sir?
What's going on, Pat?
Man, I'm just living the dream, man. When I tell you, most guys that saw me yesterday were like, "Yo, Pat, are you drunk?" And I'm like, "No." They're like, "Well, you just see there's something different about you." I said, "Yes," because I didn't have to hear about somebody's baby mama burning their jersey and needing another one. I didn't have to worry about somebody asking me about a mouthpiece or some other piece of equipment that they should have. I don't have an ear pad for something that protects my head, that type of stuff. So like when I don't have to deal with that on a Sunday or Saturday morning, I'm very pleasant. I'm pleasant as a peach.
I'm gonna tell you about my Saturday, Pat. I had training with my team all morning and all afternoon, and then afterwards I went to the unit militia game.
Okay.
And I spent one sideline, one half on the militia sideline, one half on the unit sideline. I know people on both sides, coached with both, played, coached against, coached players, coached with whatever, the whole 9 yards. I got things on both sides. And it was really good to just be there as a fan. You know what I mean? Just enjoying the vibes. And the one thing, I'm going to say it publicly, and I'm going to commend, and this is, and I'm speaking to the NAFL because I've heard some stories about the NAFL, about games getting out of hand and players being with the tough talk and wanting to fight or whatever. The militia and the unit, both teams looked great. Uniforms looked great. They all were uniform. Helmets looked good. Jerseys looked good. Everything looked good. Sidelines looked like professional fucking sidelines. Coaches in coaching gear, coaching. They weren't out there in fucking Timbs and a hoodie and a fitted. They were out there with their coaching gear on. At one point, the militia jumped on the unit. The unit couldn't come back, and the militia pretty much dominated the game, start to finish. Bad overall play from the unit kind of took them out of the game, and the militia just capitalized on mistakes. The unit, to their credit, down 25-0. I didn't hear backbiting on the sideline. I didn't hear players jawing at each other, threatening each other, fight after the game. None of that shit.
None of it.
It was just, I mean, your normal jack joint type shit, that it's normal in minor league football and football in general. But for the most part, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing that was like, okay, this might get hairy real soon. Hey, referees, you're going to need to step in and stop this. No, it was clean football, nice field, nice environment. And to that, if we can get to that level of football and we can maintain that level of football where it was all afterwards, it was all, I just finished driving my position here. If we could get back to that where it's just, hey, we're going to go out there, we all have jobs, we all got work the next day, whatever, let's just have some good, clean fun, let's play some football, and let's be, sportsmen, and let's, after the fact, shake hands and be brothers off the field. I saw guys taking pictures with each other, from different teams after the game and whatever. That's what I want to see. But I posed a question. I don't remember if it was in the Bleezers or in the other one or whatever. The problem that we have with minor league football is that we have teams that have a reputation, but the reputation isn't based off having players. And here's the question I'm going to pose to you as a historian, okay? Can you name me, let me backtrack it. If I say the name Sean McGlynn, who do you think of? What team?
Sean who?
McGlynn, Captain America.
Oh, Mariners?
Yeah.
Is that the Mariners? Yeah, gotcha.
Right.
Okay.
If I say to you CJ Tarver.
Oh, Jesus. Oh, my God. Was that Mulder's? Albany? No,
Yes.
no. It was.
Yeah.
Oh, look at me. I'm pretty good.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
And I'm bad with names. Oh, wow. Okay.
Right.
Oh, I'm on this.
If I say to you Q Banks.
Oh, God. Band of Blue.
Right. And this is what I'm saying to you, right? If I say G Block, you thinking Seminoles,
yeah.
Right? Right? So you've got these guys and you've got these names, and there was Charles Burney, was a Mariner forever. And then when the Mariners folded, he went to the militia. And
yes, he went to the militia. He was also a Packer, I think, at one point, Westchester Packer.
Might have been. But again, very
Way back.
long career.
long career.
Right? Long Hall of Fame
Hall
career, right?
Fame career, absolutely.
Right?
Was that dude?
3 teams, and that was it. The problem that we have now is I want you now with that same kind of energy that you have in your head.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to tell me, name me 2. Give me 2 superstar level players, game changer type players playing today,
right?
That you can associate with them being on less than 2 teams.
Ooh, okay. So I'm going to answer that in 2 parts. I'm going to legit answer your question, and then I'm going to retort about the relevancy and the change of that. Reem and the Pharaohs.
Reem's been a Pharaoh. Reem's been a banger. Reem's been a Noel.
But
So right there,
but so is
he's been right. But I'm saying, but when you say Reem, some guys will say Knowles. Some guys will say Pharaohs. You know what I'm saying to you?
No, I don't think they will. Oh no. I think whenever you say Reem, you're gonna say first and foremost, like you're gonna he is the pyramid. Well, yeah, I think you're gonna say the pyramid.
Yeah, he's the face of that team, but he's a big part of the Knowles as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yes, he is a big part of the Knowles. However, when it comes to the I said, well, yes, because he is that dude. He is that player that whatever uniform he's in, he's going to make a difference.
Of course,
and he's had success on multiple teams. But I would replace.
Right. We're not questioning his talent,
right?
Because
so
his talent is. I mean, listen, the kid made all den at receiver and at D-back. You know what I'm saying? So we're not questioning that. Give me another name.
Another name. Yeah, you got a point. Yeah, you got a point. You got a point.
And that's the issue. The issue is that we don't have a lot of turnover year to year to year to year.
So, but here's
right, here's
the solution. Here's a solution because us old folks need to kind of adjust.
No, wait. Somebody said Butler. No, Butler's played with the unit.
Yeah, Butler's
played with the herd. Butler's played with the Hawkeyes. Butler's played with the Silverbacks. I know I'm missing one. Hawkeyes, unit, herd.
But isn't that kind of a reflection that there hasn't been teams that have been around for that long anymore? Like again, the Silverbacks, brand new team. Like the teams that you are talking about in terms of the top notch teams they change, especially in Jersey. By the way, in Jersey the brands change.
Yeah, let's not even discuss that.
Yeah,
that's a whole.
But
that's
I think that's
a whole other conversation.
But I think that connects it though. I think that really connects the reason why you don't see a player that is, Mr. Whatever the organization is. So when you look at the teams, ironically, if you look at the teams that have been around the longest, the Brooklyn Bengals have been along a long time, and they have players that are synonymous with the team. So like, my God, I'm forgetting his name. Number 8 on the Bengals. Please, somebody put his name in the comments. He's absolutely like freaking 7'15". Dude, it's huge. What is his name? Oh my God! But he's been banged. Like anytime you see the Bengals, you see him. Period. There's a couple of guys on the Bengals, especially on that linebacker level, which I absolutely love, that are always Bengals. Again, are they social media darlings? No. Are they really big into marketing themselves? Not at all. They're, more spit than polish type of thing. So let me think of the other teams that have been around. The Wolfpack. So when you see the Wolfpack, they have their players that, again, because the certain the people that drive social media don't love the Wolfpack and absolutely don't love Sean Spencer, they're not going to give his players that play year in and year out, year out, 30 years in, the same profile as they would a G Block or the players that you mentioned before. Should we? I think so. Again, the Green Wave have been around for a while. Sadiq, and Sadiq has played other places. Noble, he's played other places. He was a Gator, won championships other places as well. Arena and the whole bit. When you think of Noble, when you think of Sadiq, you think Green Wave.
Right. You think of Green Wave because that's where That's where they're based out of. But using a kid like Dom, I'm a fan. Dom, I'm talking as a fan.
And it's a
I'm
lot of
not.
fun. It's a lot of fun on this side. I gotta say, yesterday was a lot of
I'm talking as a fan, Dom. I'm not. I've got that much interest in
zero.
coming back to coaching. If anything, I'll coach high school or something. I'm that much. I'm no.
Zero.
I've got zero.
And by the
Zero.
way, the more that you get into the games from a fan perspective, and I was doing media, I had the headset on. People were, when they scored a touchdown, the receiver from the Black Panthers, who I know, he scored a touchdown, shook my hand literally in the end zone. Like that to me, I'm like, why on earth did I coach in the first place? Shit.
No, I know why I coached. I know why I coached. And this is gonna sound like a hokey answer, man, but I felt like I was helping people. You know what I'm saying? And that's just in my nature. I was helping young men. And listen, I got great stories of young men that I remember them as knuckleheads and now they're fathers and married and professionals or whatever. But let's not get off the topic that we're talking about, right?
I had fun yesterday. I had so
I
much
had a
fun.
blast. And it was a spur of the moment type of a thing. It was like, you know what? I got out a little early. Let me swing by there real quick.
Indeed.
And then it was close. It was right close to my house. It was like a 15-minute drive from my house. But anyways,
but here's the thing. Before you go on,
listen. We'll use Noble, and he's a prime example of what I'm talking about, and not in a negative way.
Okay.
I'm not trying to bash Noble because it's way too early in the morning. I got to get into the gym, and I don't need Noble energy. Noble thinks I don't like him. I fucking love the kid. I've told him to his face I respect the shit out of his game. But Noble has been on, from my recollection, has been on the Green Wave, has been on the unit, has been on the Bandits. Help me, Pat, because you know him better than I do.
He's been a Gator.
He's been a Gator. Who else has he been on? But again, that's 4 teams. The kid's what, 24, 25-ish?
Okay, gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Young player, a guy who could be a key corner piece of an organization.
Indeed.
But he's already got 4 different helmets and uniforms that he's been involved in. You know,
but at the same time, and think about this, are you hearing anything? I know it's Edgy's. Yeah, it's Edgy's brother. I don't know his name. I don't want to call him Edgy's brother because I thought it would be disrespectful. Number 8 from the Bengals. Big shout out to him. I'm so sorry I forgot your name. What was I saying? So, in this year or this season, you hear anything about double duty? Have you even seen the word double duty typed anywhere?
I think it's because geographically you can't do it.
Beautiful. So we set the map in a way that is very effective. Nobody even has the desire to do double duty. Right. What's ESE? Oh, ESE. ESE is his name? Oh, thank you. My fault. Thank you. I'm sorry. Good morning, Molly. I don't like you. Good morning. There's 2 seasons. Who's not playing that one? Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So I think
that's even another point, right? Another point is that, again, I don't want to date myself,
but I started screw that up. No.
1997 is when I started involved in minor league football. So we're talking about now 28 years that I've been involved and watched the game evolve. So as a person, you know, a guy who's been, you know, I've been in minor league ball since 2019, 2018. You can't talk to me. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't think leagues banned the double duty, but it just, but it used to be, you had spring guys and you had summer guys. This playing year round shit, that's new. You know, guys playing all year round, that's new. And again, it doesn't allow teams to establish themselves. You know, and that's kind of where we are, where you don't have the identity, you don't have that poster boy, that poster child, and that's one of the things, right? Like, because how do I make a guy the cornerstone of my organization if he's somewhere else, where I can go see him in the summer play somewhere else? If I can only see that guy here, then, you know, that makes it better. But if I know, hey, I'm going to see him here in the spring, but then I'm going to see him there in the summer, it kind of loses a little bit of his luster.
I see you. And respect. For me, 2 is good. Is absolutely fine. And in fact, it's better for me because I'm one of the ones that had to run a team in the spring and a team in the summer. So like most of it is in the beginning, especially. I'm like, well, wow, there's going to be an opportunity for our players to play elsewhere if we're not playing. So we got to be playing when everybody is playing. So that ended up with 10 out of 12 months of the year, us, playing football. So that was the other part of it. But overall, the map I think has helped. Again, nobody has mentioned double duty. I think even in the fall, when you look at the EFA and the LAL, not really going to talk about double duty all that much. I know the LAL has the double duty rule, but hopefully, what this does, especially with when you look at the scores from yesterday, there was nobody's putting 50 on anybody. Even like 40 has been out of the realm. So the games are relatively competitive. All teams are scoring at some point, except for the Green Wave defense that pitched the shutout. I think players are going to be more likely, especially if it's fun, to finish out the season and not look for the next fix.
Yeah, and again, I've always not I've never been, and again, in hindsight, that might have been a downfall for what I do. Is I was never a fan of double duty, and here's the argument that I felt that I would give guys about why I didn't like double duty. This is when we had the Den and the NEFL going at the same time. As your coach, how would you feel if we had a game and I wasn't there?
Yes, indeed. And I've seen that on teams.
Because
like I've seen coaches not show up.
not because I've got personal life issues going on or I can't get out of work, because I'm coaching somewhere else.
Because they're more important than you.
Because they were more important, or they felt they were more needed somewhere. Let's say we're playing a bad team and that other team is a better team. So then all of a sudden now you feel like, oh, you need to be over there. So if you expect me to be here 100% of the time, I expect you to be here 100% of the time. It's a give and take. It can't be I'm just going to show up and do all the work and you show up whenever you want, or you show up at halftime, or you got to leave early of my game because you got to go to the other game. And then all of a sudden you're leaving early at halftime of my game because you're playing in the championship game, but this is only a fucking regular season game. And hey, we're in a dogfight now. We could kind of use you, but you want to go play somewhere else because that means more to you personally because it's a championship. It's a hard pill to swallow as a coach. So that's why I was against that double duty stuff. But
Yeah.
again,
and by the way, and CJ Murray makes a very valid point, and CJ is a very intelligent dude.
Yeah, he is.
And I appreciate his commentary so much. That's my guy. Again, admin I think has dropped the ball in years past, and leagues and seasons not working with one another. I think because of the the football gods and the football mafia getting together and kind of settling things, that you're going to have spring open close, and then the summer leagues reflecting like, hey, look, when do they end? Got it. Let's start after they end. No overlapping, because in years past, again, ECFL has done it. Oh, well, let's crush the spring league by starting earlier and kind of infringing on their territory. That ended up kind of exacerbating the situation. But overall, the football is week one football, but games played. Everybody was in uniform. The aesthetics were there. Again, we could deal with that. But you can't name, and again, going back to Slip's post in the Den Lounge, where it's like, oh, there's no more AAA teams and this and that. How are there no more AAA teams if every player is still playing? You can't name players that are not playing.
And that's, to me, that's another thing that I've always had an issue with. The AAA, AA.
It's just a way of insulting people. That's all it is.
And here's
and by the way, the players that are championship players, the players that are AAA players, are playing on teams that have not won championships. You get it. But how is the NEAFL referred to as not AAA if if the Den was AAA? Because of one team? Because of the Seminoles? Like that's not how AAA leagues work.
But again, we and this is a rabbit hole we can go down for hours. And with you're the right person because you can talk for hours. You could listen. You could have a 20-minute dissertation about making a right-hand turn at a red light. You know what I'm saying? So we're not going to get into that. We're not going to get into that. See, Brooklyn Bengals. See, Reading was a Bengal first, but so now we're adding more names to the list. You know what I'm saying, of teams that he's played for. But
yeah,
anyway,
true.
Right. So
indeed.
So the question that the thing with it is what makes AAA and what makes AA, right? Is it the roster size? Is it roster construction? I've always thought AAA and AA meant, hey, you need to have certain parameters met as an organization. Hence, you need to have a field with these type of amenities.
Yes.
You need to be able to have this, and this. You need to have this, that, and that.
Absolutely.
You need to have X amount of money in the bank. You need to,
Yes.
whatever. And then a AA team is a team that is, okay, we don't have all these amenities, but we're building from a 2A to eventually be a 3A. Right? That's how I always understood it.
Right.
But as we look at the landscape today, there is no such thing as 3A and 2A. What there is strongly constructed rosters and poorly constructed rosters.
Yes.
Talented rosters.
And Coach Black just said it. Like, there's no AAA leagues. There's AAA teams, and that changes from year to year based on where the players go, which makes sense. But unless the only AAA league would have been what used to be at this point, the ECFL, where you can acknowledge that every single team that you're playing on your schedule is a AAA team as well, with all the things that you mentioned.
But let me ask you this question, right? So let's use Maritime. Is Maritime a 2A facility?
Hell no. They don't charge 2A money. That's for damn sure.
Right? However, are there quote unquote 2A teams who play at Maritime?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Right? So does that make any sense? You play at a 3A facility, but you are classified as a 2A team. Were the Bears, and again, help me because you'll have a lot stronger hold on the EFA than I do. Was the EFA considered a 2A league?
Yes.
Right? And who won the EFA 2 years ago?
Bears.
Right.
Who won the LAL?
The LAL, who's a AAA, right?
And what?
Was a 3A with pretty much the same roster, maybe a couple of guys here and there, right? And won the LAL. And beat a quote unquote AAA team to do it. And beat a AAA team to get to the chance to beat the AAA team. Because everybody said Silverbacks are AAA, Farrell's a AAA, right?
Yep. Even though the Silverbacks literally were a first year team, was a starter, like it's essentially a startup team.
They were a AAA team because they had a bunch of household names.
There you go.
How does that make sense?
It doesn't.
How does that make sense?
It does.
Right.
Let me ask you this:
a 2A, and we're going to use the argument in college, right? So North Dakota State is a FCS, right?
Yes. FBS is the bowl, like the
FBS is the Dakota World Division 1. So they're an FCS team.
Correct. You're
going to try to tell me North Dakota State as an FCS team can't beat, I would say, the bottom 25% of the FBS schools?
Definitely can.
Definitely can.
And that's how Appalachian State got their start.
Right? Now, is North Dakota State going to play Ohio State and give them a game? No. No. They're not. They're not. Right? That's the difference because, again, Ohio State's got better facilities, better things, better that, or whatever, and they can get the players that they need, but because of what they have. It's not because of the talent, because the North Dakota State's got talented players.
Indeed.
Right? So this whole 3A, 2A shit is bullshit. And again, it should not be something that changes based on the construction of who is on your roster on a year-to-year basis. It needs to be for example, I see that Tony Spina's in. Hi, Coach, how are you? I'm not gonna miss the headaches that fucking have to deal with you all fucking year. I got in my feelings when Tony Spina yelled at me. Yep. He yelled at me. I told you that story, right?
Yes, you did.
Yelled at me from across the fucking field. But again, Tony Spina, Brooklyn Seminoles are a AAA quote-unquote organization. They have a class facility. Yep. They have a class organization. They have years upon years upon years. A AAA team with 2 years in is not a AAA team. They're not. You got to have the longevity to last, right? In hindsight, the Herd was a 2A team because we only lasted 3 full seasons. We were on the road to getting there, right? But we didn't get there. Brooklyn Mariners are a AAA organization. New York Bandits are a AAA organization. People can say what the fuck they want about Sean Spencer, but the fucking Demon Knights and the Wolfpack are AAA organizations. They've been around forever. They come out with a squad every year, and they do what they have to do. But again, I not to get this long-winded thing. I don't think minor league football is dead. I think what is dead is the culture, the loyalty, the trying to build the brands, and that starts with, and I can say it freely, it starts with selfish players and soulless owners.
Okay, so now let me ask you this.
Go ahead.
Because I think that we have flushed the toilet, so to speak, and have gotten that out of our system. And I'm excited because I get to be in a new seat for this particular era of minor league football. Could it be that by us focusing on the player, which is tough for us older guys, they now go to these organizations? And I said this before you came on. Who's a bad organization that's playing football right now? Like, even the teams that struggle, they might be, like it ties into the football end, and you're like, wow, like the Brooklyn Bengals, for example, they've struggled to win football games in recent years, but they've been around for 15 years.
If you're playing on a shitty field, that's number one sign of a bad organization. If you don't have any organizational control from coaches, okay, and again now, y'all should have never let me retire because now I could talk, right? when you got owners and coaches coming on and speaking like players and getting into verbal arguments with players, right? You're talking shit as if you're going to step on the field. That's bad look organizationally.
It is.
Okay?
And what I will tell you is that the Brooklyn Bengals have done leaps and bounds improvements on that. And I've noticed this starting the past, I'd say 3 years, is that I saw the same thing that you saw, very valid 5, 6, 7 years ago. This is a new organization. And to Edgy's credit, the Brooklyn Bengals pulled up in a coach bus. The Brooklyn Bengals were in uniform. The Brooklyn Bengals, went through, even had challenges. If you get a chance to see the game on HSG, they dealt with officials that were bad, and they had an especially bad referee on their sideline, and they did not lose their composure. Big shout out to those guys. But overall,
that's the
again,
sign. But that's the sign of an organization.
right?
That's the sign of
they're
people
improving.
Understanding. Yes, and shout out to them. Again, I'm going to defer to you because you are more in tune with that side of the bridge, right? I'm in tune to more with this side of the bridge and south.
Talk to me about the Tide and the Wolfpack. How do they go from the doormats? Because this is going to be the easy take, and it might be true, but I know how the semi-pro Wendy Williams down there are going to take it as, well, the Wolfpack and the Tide were irrelevant in the Den, and now they're world beaters. So the Den was this, super elite, blah, blah, blah.
And this is where people let the wins and losses get in the way, right? This is where they let the wins and losses be the end all be all. And I know I know the Tide a little bit, I know the Wolfpack intimately. Why? Because Luis Matos, Lev Carr, those guys, I talk to them all the time. And those guys are good friends. My wife knows Luis, Matos's wife. Matos's wife knows my daughter, so we know each other. We go to the Dominican club meetings, I guess, or whatever. Anyways, but if you see how these guys have built that program up, right? They took their lumps year one. They got a little bit better in year two. They recruited. If you see them, they play at a nice field. They have a concession where the wife comes out and she cooks, and there's food everywhere. Uniforms are on the money, on point. They got 3 uniforms. They're not hideous. They're all, and each one of them says First State on it, which is an ode to Delaware, which is fucking pretty fucking awesome, right? So, but they've built it little by little by little. The Tide took some losses because they lost some veterans, but they've got a lot of young players that they've brought up through the system. They've bought in to what they're doing down there, and they're starting to build it up. They took their lumps. And people who say that the Tide were irrelevant, people, guys who didn't watch the Tide. They were never a team. They were a team that would lose, but they were never a team that was out of a game. Those guys came every single week. They would show up with 20, 15, 30, and they would give you a game every single time. They were very tough guys to play against. And they are the two, and I'm glad you mentioned them, because they are the two prime examples of what happens when you stick the course, when you build your program, and here we are. Do I think the Tide is as good as they have shown so far? No, they're not. Because honestly, they've played two weaker opponents, in my opinion, and I'm not trying to take jabs at anybody. When they play some of the teams like the Militia, when they play, I don't know if they play the Wolfpack, but when they play some of these higher end teams, when they play the Owls Lester Cream every year puts out a great product.
Right.
I don't know how the fuck he does it.
Yeah, he's struggling right now though. He's again slow start.
No, it's not a slow start. They just played two tough games. Okay. They were beating the unit and let the unit come back. And they were in a tight one where they lost at the end to the Raptors. So it's not like they're getting their doors blown off. It's little, if you go through the course of the game, here's a missed opportunity here, missed opportunity there, missed opportunity here. And in my line of work, right, we have the saying, missed opportunities become liability, right? So that's what happened. They missed those opportunities and it became a liability at the end. Those guys are going to fix it. And I guarantee you in the Final Four, you're going to see the Owls. Because they do it every single year. They kind of, and all of a sudden the gears start clicking, boom, and they take off. Happens every year, every single year. So they're 0-2. That's not an 0-2 I'm worried about. The Bullies at 0-2, and they've been dismantled by two teams. They're a team that with the amount of shit they were talking, I don't know if you're the NAFL.
I am. Oh yeah. I'm
the amount of shit that they fucking talk to come up and get donut back to back. Get the fuck off the lounges and start working on your shit because that bully shit ain't it, right? But those teams are the teams that you kind of see how everything is growing up.
So where the teams that were in the den last year again, so we see the Tide and the Wolfpack that struggled, right? We have we know what happened with the Green Wave. So the Green Wave last year were the bottom of the den. Now elsewhere they are flourishing, but the Green Wave roster ain't the same roster as it was last year in the den. Obviously, with the Knowles there, in general, it's going to be tough. But what happened to the talent? So you had. Trying to remember the top teams. The Baltimore Hurricanes were the other big dogs. So where did their players go? The Baltimore Bengals. South Jersey Bengals. Which Bengals were in the den last year?
Bengals.
South Jersey Bengals. And then the other team that was a big dog was Bengals, Hurricanes, and there was one other team that was a pretty formidable team. I mean, besides you, obviously, we know where your players went.
We were a Final Four team. Let's not forget that.
Amen to that, indeed. So those players are still playing, correct?
Yeah.
So how on earth is this the death of semi-pro if all the players are just in new places?
But
you saw the post, right?
Yeah,
you saw the post. Come on.
But I see. This is the problem. You don't speak Manzanese, right? You don't speak Manzanese, okay? So I've been dealing with Slippy for long enough where I understand what he's saying, and he had some merit to what he was saying. And here's what I mean by that. Back to what I was saying, and I'm gonna put it out there. We charged $100 to returning players, $200 for new guys. Guaranteed practices every single week. Guaranteed home games, concessions, websites, pictures, film, apparel, team store, everything. Give you everything you want. Yet it was too much for you to say, hey, my money is coming. And before we said, hey, you know what, we're going to go into the league and let's see what happens. But no, let's just shut the fuck down and get it down with the time. So if a team like us, when we give you everything, and we've got coaches who coach. We're not just, because again, I hate coaches, and if you're listening to this and you're a coach and you do this, stop doing it, because you're not a coach, you're a fan, who come up with the General Madden soundtrack talk. Watch, contain, draw, pass, run, stay outside, ball. You're not coaching. You're not coaching. You're being a fan. You're not coaching. If I got to tell a defensive end to keep contain every single play, you're not coaching. All you're doing is just regurgitating some shit that you heard on an NFL film somewhere, and you think you're coaching. No, you're not. What you're doing when you tell a guy, hey, we're going to keep the contain here because we want to keep him in the pocket. We want to pressure the defensive line up front. Either he's going to step into our defensive tackles or he's going to roll out to this contain. That's coaching. Not keep contain. You know, not that. Right? So, yeah. And Pat, you're laughing because you hear it.
Yeah,
you're laughing because you hear it.
I can usually tell bad coaches from where they stand. Like, what exactly? I'm watching everybody. You can't possibly watch everybody. Are you watching from the line? You watching the linebacker level? You watching the DBs? You watching the what are you looking at? Nah, I'm looking at everybody. No, you're not. That's not how your eyes work. Well, with some of them, I've seen some guys with some messed. Well, let me move on because the universe is still working out on me. But I got you.
Pat, when I coached, 100%. I was at the line of scrimmage, right? As a DC. I was at the line of scrimmage. And here's the reason why I was at the line of scrimmage. Because I wanted my linebacker to know, if I've got to look for Juan, I know exactly where he's going to stand, right? Because he's my play caller. Even though he's got a mic in his ear, he knew that I'm going to be at the line of scrimmage on the sideline. So all he has to do is, where's the ball? Look over, there's Juan. So if I've got to say something to him, he's going to find me. When you have a mass of people and I'm all over the place, right, that's not going to help. But he knew I was going to find him there. When the offense was on the field, I was nowhere near the fucking ball. I was nowhere near the offense. If the offense was on the 20, on our 20, I was at the opposing 20. I didn't want to be anywhere near them. Right. No need for me to be there, right?
Indeed.
But I've seen offensive and defensive coordinators standing right next to each other.
Yes.
Why? Why?
With headsets on. That's the best part. Like,
why?
Who are you talking to? I'm talking to him. There's nobody who's up top. Or you'll be at like a public park that has no elevation, and they're sitting there with the coaching coaching radios on. I'm like, who are you talking to? The guy down the sideline? Are you serious right now?
I said my defensive staff. My defensive backs coach, great guy, Josh Bell. Josh Bell would stand wherever I was standing. He was standing about 15 yards downfield from where I was. Why? Because he was in the secondary. My linebackers and my defensive line coach were normally right next to me because I was on the line of scrimmage. So if I needed to talk to them, I would always look at them, right? But I would tell them I don't want anybody in the backfield. So we would line up as we were leveled, right? So if I needed to meet my D-line coach was always right next to me. I could talk to him there. My linebacker coach will be next to him, and then my D-back coach will be over there. But this is the coaching, and this is the type of things that we do, right? That's what I talk about when we talk about coaches. We have to, and another thing is you have to have coaches and you have to have owners. Coaching, owning, you can't wear the owner hat on the sideline.
That is a tough go at it.
Do it. You can't do it, which is I respect owners who are confident enough in themselves and in their people to be like, you know what, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to run the day-to-day business of this team. I'm going to construct the roster. I'm going to get the finances. I'm going to get all this. Your job as the coach is to coach what I give you. What do you need? I'll get it for you. Once I get it for you, you coach them. I don't need an owner coming down to tell me I need you to run this play. The fuck you telling me to run that play for? Fuck out of here. I'm not telling you who to fucking go get as a sponsor or how to make this money. No, I handle football, you handle ownership, right? So that's what we have. So then we have coaches who don't understand that you're not fucking players, right? You're not a player anymore. Get that out of your head, right? And say that again to Pat.
The last week, like I tried to stay off the sideline as well. I really did. I definitely
Black man.
But you know what? I have a well, yes, because now Black knows what he's doing, and he's one of the best in the game. I will say that his first championship with the Colts, it worked out pretty good for him when he asked me for my my 2 pennies. Punt the ball, Black. He had that look in his eye like, what? And I have a picture. I don't know who took the picture. God bless whoever that is. And you see me with just looking at him, and I'm just and that's the exact moment that I said, "Punt the fucking ball, man." We could get this at punt the fucking ball, bro.
But, right. So we get off of that, and here's where the players come in involved, right? Number one thing that's the killer of everything is buddy ball. You're gonna go play where your buddies play. Bro, grow the fuck up. And grow up. Make your own decision. Stop being a fucking follower. You know what I'm saying? You're like, stop being a follower. Play where you want to play. I've seen a lot of guys go places where they had no business being in. They don't fit the culture. They don't fit the scheme. They don't nothing. But they're there because of their buddy. So now while their buddy is out there shining and playing because he's one of these guys that can adapt to anything, now you're sitting here on the sideline. All you are is a guy who's reliable for a ride. That's what you are. And for your efforts, they give you some special teamwork and they give you a uniform. And if they're nice, they'll let you pick a number that you want. Right? That's what you are. That's what you are. And you gotta live in your truth sometimes. You're
Absolutely.
only as good as your easy pass. You feel me? You're only as good as your easy pass. Once your easy pass is done, you're no good to people, and people gotta start understanding that shit. And I'm talking to people directly because you know who the fuck you are, because I've told you this. You're only as good as your easy pass. And some other guys are, hey, well, listen, if I'm going to come here, well, you got to bring my guys got to come with me too. And then that's how you get on the fucking roster. And then those are the guys, right, that because you're buddies with the star, now you're riding on his coattail. You're the fucking guy at the fucking rap concert with the towel in his hand on stage, okay? You don't say a word, you don't fucking spit one bar, but there you are on stage fucking waving a towel. You do nothing. You're a glorified fan. And guys gotta realize that some of you are glorified fans, bro. You're an entourage in a football helmet. That's what you are, right? Where I'm from, we call those guys program guys. No, we call those are program guys. Man, fuck out of here. CJ, I'm fucking with you, CJ. No, those are, listen. But again, it's the buddy ball shit. It's the I'm gonna go where my guys go. No matter if the situation is shitty. And some of those guys go to these places because they can get away with fucking whatever the fuck they want. I don't gotta come to practice. I don't gotta pay dues. Cause why? We've got owners, and I said the word, who are soulless, who will sell their fucking firstborn child for a fucking $250 ring. Most of the time it's 250. We're not gonna get into that. Right? But listen, I'm taking jokes. Don't get sensitive. You know I love you, kid. I know I love you, but the screen printed rings, lowercase, is terrible. We know that. We love you. You're my boy. Anyways, but again, they go to these organizations, and now all of a sudden now the coaches feel like they got these guys, and we're gonna fucking run shop. We're gonna talk crazy, and then what happens? You look like shit. You look like shit, right? And then everybody looks stupid. And then finally, what we have is the need to. I'm gonna phrase this in a way where it's gonna offend some people, and I hope it does. You play 0 snaps, you stand on the sideline all day, and when your team wins, you've got memes. Next game, you sit on the sideline, and your team gets blown out, and I don't hear a word from you. All of a sudden, you don't talk no more.
Yes,
If you're
that's a tough one.
if you're gonna talk in a win, you better talk in a loss. The same energy, the same energy you had when you were winning, have that same energy when you were losing. And on top of all of that, I blame the players because players allow other players to do knucklehead dumb shit. Let me ask you a question, Pat.
Yes, sir.
if you are, think of 3 random people in your head right now that you would go out with on a regular basis, right? Like just hey, I'm gonna go to a bar with these people, okay?
Who would be fun to hang out with at a bar?
No, I don't even care if it's fun. Just gonna go with them, right?
Okay.
So now, think of replace one of those guys. Kev, I know you, right? I know that you picked 3 fucking guys that are, if anything goes on, are gonna take care of business, right?
Okay.
Replace one of those guys with a yappy motherfucker, a little 5'7", 150-pound know-it-all, right?
Ugh.
Now you walk into that bar. It's you, 2 goons, and that yappy motherfucker, right?
Yep.
And you walk into this bar in a neighborhood that you have no idea where you are. Pick somewhere, let's say Philly, right? One of them Johns, right? In Philly, where you know nobody, it's just the 4 of you.
Been
right?
there, yeah, gotcha.
And now that yappy motherfucker decides he wants to talk to the 6'5", 330-pound guy who's got a neck tattoo all the way across here. He's got the face tatted. He's got his dome tatted. And that yappy motherfucker is talking crazy shit to that guy. What as Pat, who is the smart man, gonna tell to that yappy motherfucker? What are you gonna say to him?
You're gonna say, come on me real quick. Man, shut the fuck up. Unless you plan on fighting all of them.
Right. You're about to get us our asses kicked. Shut the fuck up. And that's the problem that we have in minor league football at the end of the day, is that we have way too many yappy motherfuckers who get 3 carries for 4 yards, who want to be internet famous and talk crazy shit. I was at a game yesterday with a guy who talked crazy shit. I didn't remember seeing him on the field. But we'll be on the internet on every single post talking yap, 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 yap. And the problem is, we as players don't tell this guy, hey, do me a favor, get the fuck off the lives. Get the fuck off the lounge. Stop talking. You don't do nothing, play your position. And it's that hierarchy where we have the top level guys, right? They are the ones who can talk all the shit, right? Then you've got the mid-level guys who are the support guys. And then you've got the easy pass guys that you know it'll never say service required or call service needed on the easy pass because they're going to get you to the game. And everybody wants to be a fucking superstar. How do we know this? Because every time a list comes up of who are the elite guys at a position, you have 95 fucking names. I one time saw a list where they said, oh yeah, this receiver, that receiver, this receiver, that receiver. They were all from the same team. And the fucking team scored, I think, in 7 games has scored 30-something points. How the fuck are you only leading scoring 30 points in 7 games? Miss me with that shit. How do you tell a league owner shut the fuck up? You try. The way you tell a league owner shut the fuck up is when the league disappears. That's kind of how it goes. But again, it's. I'm not saying the game's in a bad state, Pat.
Okay.
You know, again, what I saw yesterday at the unit militia game gave me a lot of hope that the game is in a good hands. You know, for me, I was kind of waiting for the moment where someone was going to do something stupid, take a swing, and it didn't happen. And I was glad. And I was glad. However, I shouldn't be feeling that. We're all grown men.
Mm-hmm.
We're all grown men. Zay Green, coach of the Eagles, put up there, things got out of hand in his game. He goes, I got to do better as a coach to stop that from happening. And my response to him, I was gonna inbox him because I was gonna put it online. But now I'm telling him, Zay, it's not your job. It's not your job. At the end of the day, we deal with grown men. A lot of these guys are fathers. A lot of these guys are adults. Okay. You have one guy who's a 19-year-old kid. You may want to try to grab him by the back and be like, hey, let's calm it down a little bit. But 30-something-year-old man can't control his emotions to the point where he wants to fight in a football field. There's a lot of maturing that needs to happen. A lot of maturing that needs to happen. And once we get that maturity level to the point where, because I hate the argument of, well, if I was playing in the pros, I wouldn't do that. What's the difference? Money? Money's the difference. If you were at work Would you do that? No. What's the difference? Money? No, it shouldn't be money. Money should not dictate your character.
Your character,
Ever.
yeah. There you go.
Ever.
Your character should not depend
Money
on the
should
place.
never, ever, $0 or $1,000,000. My character is the same.
Indeed.
So, again, Pat, it's not dead, but it needs some fixing. And
It always needs some fixing. It needed
some
fixing 15 years ago, and in 1997 it needed fixing. I'm hopeful, and to all the people that are tuning in, my role, and I think I speak for you as well, is to highlight the people that are doing it very well and hope that that catches fire and catches popularity, more so than the negative things that people pile on to. You know, if we can get through the off season without, maximum drama and such, we should be able to do it while football is being played.
Listen, I'll leave you with this thought, and this is my message to guys that if they want to listen, they can listen. If they don't, they don't. Don't let football dictate who you are in real life. I've seen a lot of guys who are absolute atrocious football players and be high quality, high income individuals. And I've seen guys who are elite athletes who I wouldn't trust them with $2. I wouldn't trust them in my house and not feel like they're gonna steal something, right? Don't let football dictate who you are as a man, because at the end of the day, this football shit is gone, right? And I'm using me as an example, right? I'm no longer involved in football. I'm a fan now. I'm a spectator. I may be a commentator. I may be the Stephen A. Smith of the Dominicans. I don't fucking know, whatever, right? So I can't say I'm a football coach now. I'm always going to be a football coach at heart, but I'm not a football coach right now. Doesn't change the man that I am. Doesn't change the father, the husband, and when I wear those titles more, I carry that better than I do being a football coach, right? My success, this is the most important ring I'll ever wear. You know what I'm saying to you?
Indeed.
The most important ring that I ever wear, because what this states is that I committed to something, I stayed true to something, and I sacrificed myself for the betterment of other people. That's what that ring means. I don't care what goes on here. This is the one that matters. And guys watching this should be the ultimate ring you should be worried about. Not,
You about to say 215.
You piece of shit. You're such a piece of shit.
Way too early with Pat. Thank you, Coach DePena.
Hey, let me get out of here. Let me get into
sir.
the gym. Pat, always talk, but we'll talk during the week, brother.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bye, everybody.
All right. So awesome talk. So I'm going to post the highlights from this week. If you have highlights, please add them along. As you know, the big show of the three Bleezys comes on Thursdays. They say 8 o'clock, which means probably like 10 o'clock or 11:30 or so, depending on how late they are. But absolutely, yeah, awesome time. Moving forward, again, to all the people out there, I had a lot of fun at the games yesterday, and it's about, for me personally, it's about highlighting what's going on now. It's about the players that are playing now. It's about the coaches that are coaching now. And although I am a historian and I'm big time into history, not about me or my accomplishments or the games that I won or lost or decided to punt when we should have punted, et cetera, et cetera. It's about, again, the people that are out there. And as long as you guys continue to make it fun for people like me that love the game and love the culture of semi-pro football, the thing will never die. Absolutely will never die. As long as I can go out to games and enjoy the concession stand and enjoy watching some football and all the love on the sideline from players on every team, staff members, people that are on other teams that just happen to watch the game. It's absolutely an awesome culture that will never die and never be in a crisis that we can't handle. So for another episode of Way Too Early with Pat, have a good one. Enjoy your week, and See you on Thursday.